Hello out there, welcome to this tutorial on Microsoft Excel. In this video, we'll be looking at if function considering only two criteria or two conditions. Let's go. So here is the file we are going to use for this tutorial. It's still part of the file we have used in our previous tutorials. Make sure you check the description section of this video on our YouTube channel to get the link to all the videos on Microsoft Excel. Now, if function is a conditional statement used to return one value if a condition is true and another value if it is false, which means there is always a condition to be met. Either the condition is 2, 3, or 4 or more. We can have up to 70 conditions. But in this tutorial, we are going to look at only two conditions. If it is not A, it is B. That's why we said this if function is going to take care of only two criteria. So let's look at what we can do here. Now we want to look at maybe placing a remark as the next column, remark. So the remark now is going to be based on the condition that if you score a range of marks, you have passed, otherwise you have failed the exam. But before then, we are going to look at the various ways of placing our values. The first value, the second value, that is value if true and value if false. Before then, let's look at the syntax. So we input our formula now, equal to if, open bracket. Immediately you open the bracket, it gives you the syntax. The syntax is if, open bracket, logical test, comma, value if true, comma, value if false. This logical test is going to be a Boolean value, a logical value. So that is what we mean by logical test. It is either B3 is less than 50. That is the self-reference containing the value you want to compare. It is either less, great, or equal to a particular value or equal to a particular cell. Then what the value will be, we give you the value if true. If it is not, you now place the value if false. Then for instance, let's assume we are dealing with the average. We now look at if the average score is less than 60, the person has failed. If it is not, the person has passed. So our logical value here now is going to be if H2 is less than 60, then comma, it cannot be equal to 60, because if it is equal to 60, it means if you score 60, it means you are going to fail. So let's just say H2 is less than 60, which means if the average score is less than 60, the person has failed. We just type it fail, then comma. There's something here. We are going to place that value within double quotation. The value will be placed within double quotation. Otherwise, it will return error. The next thing is, let's assume we are not putting the other value. We just close the brackets. We're not putting the other value, because by implication, we have supposed to put value if true and value if false. Assuming you have just put only one value, let's see what you are going to have as your result. So you press enter, then autofill. Can you see now that if you do not put the second value, it returns false, 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 and the first value will always return. Like here now, this is the value if true here. They return fail, fail, fail. Others will return false, false, false. That is why it is always very important to put the two values, the value if true and the value if false. So what we'll do now is we go back to our formula, then put your value if false. And the value if false will still be within double quotation. It is what? Pass. Then we now hit the enter. You can see now that the second value is being returned. So the condition is if you score less than 60, you have failed the exam. If you score above 60, you have passed the exam. So you can see the remark and how to use if function to place such. Then let me look at another column. Let's assume we are to meet certain criteria in your scores in mathematics. If you do not get up to 60% in mathematics, you'll be required to resit the maths. So we want to look at a situation where we'll just put the asterisk on those that are reciting mathematics, and those that are not reciting mathematics, it is going to be empty. Then we'll now place our comment and write those with asterisks under, let's call it maths receipt. Yeah, let's call it math receipt. That is, if you are going to receipt maths or not. If you are going to receipt maths, it will put asterisks. Otherwise, you are good to go. So what we'll do now again, we are going to use if function equal to if open brackets. Then we are dealing with mass score now. We click on the first mass score less than 60, comma. What do we say? What is our value? If you score less than that, we are going to place asterisk. That asterisk also will be within double quotation. Now, if you score above, it is going to be left empty. So what we just do now is we are going to put just the double quotation and close the bracket. Nothing is going to be placed within the double quotation for value if false. Okay, for value if false, nothing is going to be placed within the double quotation, which will be left empty. So we press enter, then we autofill. So from here now, you can see now that only 3 students that scored less than 60 will be required to receipt, and they are the one that have the asterisks. So let's look at it. This person got 59, so it is asterisk. This has 59 also, is asterisk. This has 55, it is asterisk. We can then go ahead to say those students with asterisks are to receipt mathematics. So you have it there as the comments. So that's all for this tutorial. At the end of the day, we have explained to you what if function is, how to use if functions with two criteria, and how to create just an empty space using if function. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and share this video. Until we come your way again, goodbye.